Hi, I'm Diane Nelson. Welcome to Meet the Candidate of Harrison Township 2020. This project is a joint effort between myself as the Senior Center Coordinator and Melissa Goins, the Library Director for Harrison Township. The program is designed to bring information to the voters of Harrison Township about the people who currently serve the township and others from our community who want to. The library nor the Senior Center endorses any candidates. The only goal of this project is to provide voters with information.
Now we're talking to Ken Verkest, candidate for Township Supervisor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken.
Sure. I am a fourth generation lifelong resident, 52 years old. Debbie and I will be married 30 years this November. We were blessed with 3 girls, and they're all finished with school, all Lance Cruise graduates. About 10 years ago, we took in 2 nephews and a niece, and we've got 2 of those in college and 1 who will be a senior this fall. I've been supervisor since 2011. Prior to that, I spent my career in the automotive industry doing automotive tool design, both for automotive tool suppliers as well as for about a dozen years or so self-employed at home. So very small business owner, I guess you could say. So that's a little bit about me.
Very good. What originally prompted you to run for supervisor?
That's a great question. My history really began because a good friend of mine decided that he wanted to run for supervisor, and that was Tony Ferlini. And he had asked me if I would help him with his campaign finance reporting. And I like to consider myself a detail-oriented person, and I thought that would be something I could help him with. But I thought he was crazy at the time for running. I didn't really see much interest in it. Tony was successful in 2004, and from 2004 to 2008, I watched what I would term the most dysfunctional board that we've had in my lifetime. A lot of times we were on the front page of the news, and for all the wrong reasons. And I just didn't feel like the folks who were serving at that time with Tony were representative of our community. So I decided that being a trustee would be some way for me to serve. I served as a trustee for 2 years, and I found that I really liked being involved in my community. I felt that I could represent folks well because I am active in the community. 2 years later, Tony ran for the state rep seat, and the board appointed me to fulfill his remaining 2 years, and then I've been reelected twice since then.
Very good. What do you see as a general concern in the township, and how do you plan to address them?
Yeah, it's really, in the end, it's really finances that lead to all the other concerns. So, for example, infrastructure. Infrastructure is a major concern in just about every municipality. And the question is, how do you pay for it? Roads. Our residential roads are in pretty poor shape, or at least some of them are. And at a state and county level, the funding is broken. So, for me, really, the finance is the key issue. It leads to the challenges. The last 2 years, we've spent, significant 6-figure sums of money helping to address flooding, pumping, test balls, sandbags, just to keep the roads dry. And those funds were funds that we would have used to make repairs to the bike path system. And so, it goes right back to the same thing. I think the big challenge is, stretching dollars and trying to make do with what we have. We are the only community in Macomb County that doesn't levy a general fund millage. So no property taxes flow to Harrison Township for anything other than a dedicated purpose. We have a fire millage, a police millage, and a library millage. So we operate on a pretty tight budget.
I see. What are your involvements in other community affairs?
Well, In other community affairs, that's a great question. I wouldn't say that I'm involved in other. Let me back up. I might misunderstand the question. You mean in other things within Harrison Township? Not in other communities. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of like Shelby Township in Washington. I'm sorry. Well, I'm active in a faith community. I was baptized at St. Hubert Church. I've attended the church all my life. Through that, I became involved in the Knights of Columbus, and we've been successful in offering assistance, charity, support for local families throughout that time. I am, I'm not even sure how long, at least 10 years. I've been the vice president of the L'Anse Creuse High School Band Boosters. We do most of the cooking for the band. Throughout the years, whatever the children were involved in, we were supportive. I taught faith formation when our girls were younger. I do deliver for Meals on Wheels and help out when we sponsor McRest. So that'd be, I guess, some of the things that we're involved in.
Good. Those are the 3 questions that I have, Ken. Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
No, just that I have tried for the last roughly 10 years to serve the residents respectfully. I think civil part of, being civil is an important part of township, of any governance, but certainly township governance. I'd like to consider myself accessible. I regularly post and give out my cell phone number. And I often say that I find when I'm faced with a decision, when someone's in my office or someone approaches me with an idea or a proposal, I just try to imagine what 26,000 people behind me would want. What do they see? How do they see it? And I think if you lead in those ways, you're never nervous. You're not worried that someone's going to call you up or say, you're in trouble for this or you did something wrong there. You're just trying to imagine really the golden rule. What would I want someone who represents me to do? How would I want them to serve? And that's what I've tried to do. And I'm hopeful that the voters in Harrison Township will give me the opportunity to do that for another 4 years.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ken, and for offering to serve in our community again. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Melissa Goins. Thank you for tuning in to meet the candidates of Harrison Township 2020. Don't forget to vote at the polls on August 4th and November 3rd, or with an absentee ballot. All voting information for Harrison Township can be found at htvotes.com. That's HT for Harrison Township, votes.com.